Today, I'm talking about two facts. Number one, that you're lazy. And number two, that you have a limited amount of willpower in every day that quickly runs out. These two things might seem bleak, but I'm going to try to convince you that knowing about these two things and taking advantage of them can make you a much more productive person. Now you do this by shaping the environment around you to make it easy for the laziest part of you to do the productive things and harder for the laziest part of you to do the unproductive things. Let's get into this more in depth, but first I'm going to go on a tangent about road safety. I promise it's related. Now, it's estimated that 1.4 million people die on roads every single year. It's well known that speed is the main predictor of death on the roads. No matter how careful someone is, the faster they are going, the more likely they are to crash, and the more likely that crash will be fatal. So the best way to make roads safer is to get people to drive slower. That just means lowering speed limits, right? Wrong. Lowering speed limits doesn't work because people don't listen to them. If you were driving on a road that was 80 kilometers per hour every single day, and then one day it suddenly became 50 or 30, would you listen to it? Probably not. And even if you were listening to it and slowed down, if you weren't paying attention, you could just as easily speed up to that original speed limit you were used to. The jurisdictions that were able to get people to slow down were the ones that made roads that made you want to slow down, not the ones that told you to slow down. When roads got narrower and added lots of trees, which are things you'd think would make roads less safe, they actually got more safe. That's because people felt like they had to drive slower and therefore reduce their speed. Now, this video isn't about road safety. It's about productivity, but there's a really important lesson you can learn here. Whenever you have a new goal and the basis of your goal is just, I'm gonna try harder to do that, that's a bad goal. Scrap it. It might result in short change when you're motivated, but over the long term, you're probably gonna revert back to your original habits. It helps to remember the two things I said at the beginning of the video, that we're lazy and we only have a limited amount of willpower. If left to our own devices, we're eventually just gonna indulge in what the laziest part of us wants to do. If there's chocolate right in front of you, you're probably gonna eat it, no matter how hard you try. But if you move that chocolate really far away from you and then put a healthy snack in front of you, you're less likely to eat that chocolate and more likely to eat the snack, because the laziest part of you doesn't want to get up and go get that chocolate. The idea is to build friction surrounding the tasks we shouldn't be doing and decrease friction around the tasks that we want to be doing. To get into a personal example, I've always had issues with staying up at night on my phone. No matter how many times I told myself, this is the night, I'm getting off my phone at 11 p.m., I'm going to sleep, I would always be up till the early hours of the morning watching God knows what on YouTube. Seriously, what am I watching? So one day, I tried something so radical, so insane, something I normally wouldn't have dreamed of. I stopped bringing my phone into my room at night. Crazy, right? This device has been the last thing I've seen before I gone to bed, and the first thing I see when I wake up, basically every single day for the past 10 years of my life. But now, I just charge it in the kitchen, and I bought a real alarm. You know alarms like those things you used to buy that make noise at certain times to wake you up? Yeah, they still sell them. And without my phone sitting on my night table at night, there was nothing to distract me or keep me up. There was no temptation if I literally just got rid of the temptation. I couldn't rely on my willpower to get off my phone when I needed to go to sleep, so I had to adopt a strategy that didn't rely on willpower. When you develop strategies that reduce your need for willpower and take advantage of your inherent laziness, it's more likely to result in lasting change. And everything I'm talking about is supported by a psychological concept called ego-depletion theory. The experiment that led to the creation of the ego-depletion theory went like this. Two groups of students, both who had not eaten in hours and were very hungry, came into a room that smelled like cookies. In the room, there were cookies and radishes. The first group was told that they were not allowed to eat the cookies and were only allowed to eat the radishes. Therefore, they had to use their willpower to try to not eat the cookies. The second group came in and was allowed to eat either the cookies or the radishes, so they didn't waste any willpower and were able to eat the cookies if they wanted to. Afterwards, they were both sent into another room where there was a puzzle they had to complete, but the puzzle was impossible. The researchers measured how long each group spent on the puzzles. The first group, who were not allowed to eat the cookies and therefore had wasted willpower on that task, spent less time working on the puzzle. They got frustrated quicker and left quicker. Screw this, I'm out. The second group, who were allowed to eat the cookies, had a lot more willpower left over, and they tried the impossible puzzle for much longer. The theory states that you have a limited amount of willpower every single day. When you wake up in the morning, you wake up with this much willpower. And as you make decisions throughout the day, it decreases as you use it up. So if you're using up a lot of your willpower making decisions earlier in the day, then your decisions later in the day will be poorer because you have less willpower. This means that if you've been struggling all day to resist the temptation of social media while you're studying, you're less likely to go for that run afterwards. But if you somehow make it so that social media isn't a temptation for you during the day, then you'll have more willpower left over to get you to do that run. Your goal should be to decrease the amount of decisions you have to make in a given day, so you have more willpower left over for when you really need it. Now let's get into some practical examples of how you can apply that theory in your day-to-day life. If you want to go for runs in the morning, maybe put your running shoes right beside your bed, or maybe even sleep in your running clothes. If you already have them on, that's a lot of the friction reduced, and you're more likely to just go for that run. If you're talking to your friends a lot in the library, maybe move to a part of the library that's silent, where you don't even have the option of talking. If you're having difficulty studying because you keep going on your phone, put your phone somewhere that you can't see it. I know you might think that you're addicted to your phone, but I promise you, you're more lazy than addicted. If you just toss it a couple feet away, you'll be less likely to go on it. Or you can try the 12-second rule suggested by Sean Anker in the book The Happiness Advantage. The premise is that if something takes you more than 12 seconds to do, you'll be less likely to do it. The example Anker gives in the book is that he wanted to practice his guitar more, but he found that he was spending most of his evenings watching TV. What he did is he took his TV remote and he walked 12 seconds away from his living room, put it in some cabinet 12 seconds away, and then he bought a guitar stand and put that in the middle of his living room. Literally nothing changed except for the location of his items. His favorite TV show didn't change, his level of proficiency at the guitar didn't change. Nothing actually changed, but more often than not, he found himself spending his evenings playing guitar instead of watching TV. And the beauty of this strategy is that he didn't have to throw his TV away. His remote was still there if there was something that he really wanted to see. However, instead of just instinctively turning on the TV and spending his evenings doing that, he instinctively did something more productive. My favorite practical application of the ego-depletion theory is using an app called Self-Control. It's a Mac app that blocks whatever website you put on a blacklist for whatever period of time. My blacklist of sites usually includes YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, and Reddit. And what I love about this app is that there is no way to turn off your blacklist until the timer is done. So if I set it for 5 hours, there is nothing I can do to turn that off and go on those websites in that 5 hours. I can restart my computer, do whatever, this thing is still running. Since there is no way to turn off a blacklist until the timer is over, you don't even waste willpower thinking about going on distracting websites, which in turn makes you more productive. Now, nothing I'm saying is revolutionary. Everyone knows that if your phone is right in front of you, you're more likely to go on it. When I first told my mom about the ego-depletion theory, she said, "So what? It's common sense." Yet, even though it is common sense, I feel like so many of us seldom apply it on a daily basis. Just try it out for yourself. I promise you that if you think of your environment less as a place that you live, and more as a road that's designed to guide your behaviors, you'll find yourself driving through areas you want to be in a lot more, and driving through the others a lot less. Thanks for watching this video, guys. If you liked it, please like, subscribe, and hit the bell for notifications next time I release a video. If you found it helpful, share it with someone that you know. If you got anything you want to say, leave them in the comments below. I'll try to reply to all of them. I'll catch you guys on the flippy flip.